The tragic story of Kevin Owenga, aka Richie Rich, a 28-year-old Kenyan car salesman who was killed after joining wash business. Kevin was born on 28 February 1991 at Soko Village in Kisii County. He was the last born son to Owenga Sr., who sadly passed on 2 years later, leaving the family of 3 boys under the care of his mom. Kevin joined the local primary school and later enrolled at Kisumu Boys, where he performed impressively. But due to financial problem, he could not further his education, leaving him with no option than to hustle. So he decided to convince his guardian uncle to accommodate him in Nairobi as he tried to find his footing in the city. Gladly, uncle agreed and Kevin came to the city with only one thing in mind: determination. Determination to be successful and change his family fortune. He arrived in the city on April 2013 like the Kenyaji was and lived with his uncle family as he tried to figure it out. Being new in the city, he didn't know what to do, but 2 things he knew he wouldn't do no matter what were: be a casual laborer like his brother Vincent Owenga, and be a long-distance traveler bus tote like his brother Wycliffe Owenga, who served in Transline Bus Company. To him, these 2 jobs were not what he pictured himself doing. Since he loved cars, he always pictured himself driving cars like Rick Ross, and those 2 jobs never offered him that option and satisfaction. So he decided to follow his passion for cars and turn it into a profitable business. Armed with nothing but a silver tongue, Kevin approached a car yard owner and convinced him of how good of a salesman he was. And boom, and he was hired at the then growing Insania Motors, Ngong Road. Without any connection or customers, he knew his biggest asset was social media, which was now growing in 2013, so he invested big on it, creating a Facebook page for the company, and also posted himself selling his first car on July 2013 like a proud intern. The car on sale was a Mini Cooper, and he had dressed the part to look like a businessman. Believing in the long game, he gave his all as time went by. Every morning he would wake up, show up at the yard and take pictures, from motorcycles to cars, anything his phone could capture. He posted, hoping he will find clients. And for every action, there is always a reaction. His post caught the eyes of buyers, who granted Kevin his first sales, earning him a commission, money that helped Kevin rent his own house away from his uncle's eye, and change his wardrobe from the country boy who came from Kisii to a young hip-hop man dressing brand that Migos were wearing. Moreover, he also realized tea and soda were not the only drinks available as taught by his SDA mom, so any small money got, he made sure to burn his liver. Literally, pesa zilikuwa mingi hazikuwa zinatoshea kwa wallet, as he showed everyone who could see to see. In his own words, he was young and rich, so remarking the cash was not a problem. So as fast as it came, he spent it like a wise man, never forget to respect his job, which earned him new lifestyle. He doubled his effort in salesmanship and started marketing luxury cars. So as Kelvin continued to surf online for possible customers, he came across Belgium, Ugandan babe, Rukia Jamal, who he fell in love with despite the distance. She looked moneyed, which was his type. So without hesitance, he slung his shot at the lady, claiming to own the car yard, which she found inspiration at his young age and fell in love with him, making trips to Kenya severally just to see him. He picked her in his boss's car to impress her even more. With Rukia Juma unaware that all this was an act and Kevin was only interested in her finances, which came in handy anytime he needed a soft loan when business was slow. I mean, you can't sell cars every day unless you are Cairo. So after dating for a while, he started asking for soft loans from her just because he knew she cared, and gladly she did send him when he needed help. Sometime later, she tried to convince him to move in with her to Germany, but like the real African dada he was, Kevin declined the European invite. Like Sauti Sol and most of us, he wanted to live and die in Africa. So the two decided to continue their long-distance relationship, but after some time, Rukia was convinced that Kevin was not the man that he was meant to be with, because Kevin was always out partying and enjoying life. And this was not okay with Rukia, as Rukia was looking for a man, a serious man to settle with. And sadly, the connection ended completely, with Kevin choosing to live his life selling cars. Sadly, he tried to con a customer, but Kevin was fired from his place of work. But being a top salesman, Kevin found his way into another company, Listra Motors Lavington, where he continued with his trade, a trade that would lash him into a circle that he should have never messed with, despite them being 90% customers of these high-end vehicles. As he drove himself in these cars, going to good places, he met the gang, gold scammers. After what was said to be a convincing offer, Kevin quit his job as a salesman at the yard in Lavington. Next time he was seen in public, he was dressed in sleek suits, looking like a millionaire, back up and sharp, contrast from the guy who was borrowing moolah. An unbelievable meteoric rise, which he claimed to be God's work. However, word on the street was that he was now a gold scammer, working for his new boss, Chris Obure. For starters, Chris Obure is a man you will not want to mess with. A real-life don and a licensed gun holder, is the CEO of Global Jet, an air chartered company. Despite having many court cases against him about gun drama and gold scam, is untouchable and clearly a man you'll not want to mess with, according to a user who once was in business with him. Nonetheless, Kevin went all in to serve his new boss, and the reward was good. First guy was given was a Range Rover, a car most people dream of driving, which he gave his bro Wycliffe to pull up with during an event in Kisii. Kevin wanted to be a politician. However, after some time, Kevin got an accident with that Range Rover, but that never stopped him. Kevin bought a new car, Porsche, and that's when he got his new name, Richie. Clearly, money was not the issue, how to spend it was the issue. He chilled in high-end clubs with celebs and hot girls. However, he ran too fast by letting his ambition make him seal a gold deal without the knowledge of his boss Chris Obure. A deal connected to him by his new best friend and a neighbor at Galana Suits, Jamal. This was a total disrespect and a breach of etiquette that required the don to always be on the loop, so he had to pay. His ambition had finally costed him. So on 21st August 2020, as he prepared to hold a party in his house after purchasing a Dubai ticket dated 23 March together with his best friend Jamal to a deal of 100 million. Robert Bodo walked into his boss's office while talking to walkie-talkie and got his gun. Later in the evening, he went to Kevin's apartment like Jamal, Arabman, as CCTV showed. Kevin later left but was closely followed by Bodo, even as he came back ready to smash his beautiful babe. Moments later, a gunshot was heard and Kevin lay down fighting for his life. Robert claimed he had committed suicide, but his bro Wycliffe, who was present, denied the allegation. They tried saving his life, but on his arrival at the hospital without Bodo, who had gone to return the gun, Kevin was pronounced dead. An end to a 28-year era. Robert Obodo and Chris Obure were later arrested for murder but freed on bond. Next thing we had, the star witness to the murder, who was Owenga's brother, was sadly killed. A sad ending to the Owengas.
Robert Oko disembarks from the elevator again and returns to Owenga's apartment. The events taking place behind this wall are hidden all through. A fourth gentleman who was within the vicinity of the apartment is seen leaving 1 minute after Oko had returned to the apartment. He enters the lift and comes back to the apartment 10 minutes after 9 p.m. In his hands, he appeared to carry supplies. The contents are unknown. 1 minute later, another man wearing a white t-shirt walks out of the lift and heads the direction of Owenga's apartment. 4 minutes later, the gentleman who had arrived carrying supplies is seen leaving and disappears into the elevator. At 9:27 p.m., a man who had been spotted by the CCTV camera as the second one to arrive at the apartment a few minutes before 9 p.m. leaves the apartment. 7 minutes later, two men arrive, and we have since established that one of them was the same one who was carrying supplies to the apartment and had left shortly. 36 minutes past 9 p.m., a man who appeared to be of Arab or Asian origin leaves the apartment and comes back minutes later only to bump into Kevin Owenga as he was heading to the lift. They engage in small talk and enter the lift. One of them returns. At 9:41, Robert Oko heads to the lift casually, but heads back to the apartment before leaving once again and disappears into the lift. Between 9:41 p.m. and 10:28 p.m., more activities around the lift area as men can be seen walking in and out of the lift and head to the apartment. At 10:35 p.m., the deceased Kevin Owenga returns to his apartment in the company of a woman. The two can be seen talking and giggling. They disappear behind the wall. Robert Oko follows them 4 minutes later, and so does the supplies man, this time carrying a dish in his hand. At 11:22 p.m., activities around the lift area appear to change. The calm and casual walk is no more. Instead, the man who had been moving around carrying supplies is seen making a dash for the lift, pressing buttons to open. He leaves after severally going back and forth. 2 minutes later, Robert Oko heads to the lift, also
me coming out about me sending him the money was the only way to show people that it could be possible that something went wrong and it was about money. That's why he ended up dying, because this was a guy that he was most time broke and asking for money all the time. So it could be possible it was about money. Kevin had one problem. This guy was drinking a lot. You know, not every lady wants to stay with a guy that drinks a lot. I live far, he lives far. I live in Germany, he lives in Kenya. I travel a lot in Kenya, more than anything. you see. And he was drinking a lot. Like, you're in a relationship, a far relationship, and a guy, whenever you call him, is always in a bar with friends and women. Even if it's you're in my shoe, will you still continue in a such relationship? I never abandoned him in any bad thing. I abandoned him because of bad alcoholic drinking. I abandoned him because he was into messing around with girls and lying. Lying was another thing. Lying to me all the time. That is the reason why I broke up with this guy. Hi everyone, my name is Babs Juma. So I want to clear some rumors that I've heard that are going around in the social media, especially to those people that they're blaming me for not being there for their brother. So of late I received phone calls, texts and messages in my IG from the people that followed me, asking me questions, what really went wrong, that I never supported their brother, that maybe if I had supported him, things could have been much different today. So I want to clear that out. When we started dating with Owenga, things were really going well, and I tried almost a month to tell him to. I really tried to convince him for almost a month to move here in Europe and live with me, but he refused. He said he wasn't ready to move to Europe, wasn't ready to leave his family or leave his friends or his business. I tried for almost a month until we had a problem about it. Then later I had to let it be, because you can't force a grown-up to do what he does not want to do. He said he preferred living in Africa and that things should continue the way they were, visiting each other, but he wasn't ready to leave Africa, change the environment, which I had to let him. So when I heard that people were busy blaming me for not being there for him, that if I had been there for him, things could have been much different today, I really felt bad and I decided I have to clear the air. And another thing I want to clear is the allegation that is going around, especially in the media, that I am the lady in the CCTV footage that was shown the night that my ex was killed. I am not the lady, because I am in Japan.